Alright, I've got to figure out this carrier cat nuclear rod thing. Are these humming, actually? But this is the system I think I'm going with. So I had a hatch on here and it didn't work because the door that like slides down into the electric hatch, I'll get a hatch. Alright, so initially what I wanted to use is one of these electric hatches because it's exactly 3x3. Just let me open that one. But you'll see, uh-oh, for some reason, the hitbox on the door is still in the way. So yeah, it's basically impossible to get it through a hatch. But you can see it's going through the custom door pretty nicely. So I can do any kind of opening for this other than like direct sliding. That was the thing about the electric hatch, which is really nice, is that it just slides within that 3x6 space. Whereas this, you've got to like pull it out and rotate it across or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool, so that's why I did it that way. The main goal is to make something with a hole in the middle that is holding all 8 rods, and this thing is the reusable part. So it's got to come up, get suspended in front of the door, and then slid like all the way in, which is another tricky part. So the control rod has to go, well, I mean, it doesn't have to go, but I can have it right up against the door, not really, that's not really an issue. So the arm that is pushing the rods in needs to be able to come like all the way into here, right? Because if I use like a hard point, which is like what you might think of using, then it needs to come all the way to here. That's obviously quite a long way to go. And then also the thing to consider is like when the rods are used, how do they come back out? So let's say I open this. They're suddenly getting stuck. I wonder if they're hitting the control rod's hitbox. Yeah, like you can probably force them in. So now they're all in. So the connector would need to be in here as well, which needs to go through this hatch. I don't like that it's getting stuck here. Using a gripper might fix it. Yeah, that seems to fix it. So, and then it would need to retract whatever connector's on there. The next part is it's most likely got to be, you'd be using another hard point. But then this is on an arm, and the arm can't cover that fluid port because it's also got to go through the hatch. Then we also need a button to toggle, I don't know if you need electricity to that. Toggle the release on that. Door open. Track in. Release. Track out. Door close. And so when these nuclear rods are spent, I've added a button here which should release them all. So you would open the door, disable the release, grab that, push that button. Now I can pull them all out, close the door. Now what do we do with it? I've got to figure out a way to chuck that over the side. Get it in the water, like chuck it in the ocean somehow. There's also the issue of this door is, you know, like it's vertical, so the water that's in there is going to fall out. And the other issue is like, how do I even get this up to here in the first place? Do I need another hard point? That would probably solve that issue, to be honest. And then what I was doing over here, the thought I had with this thing is that it would be basically connected to directly where the rods are, and then once you've retracted it out of the system, something like that. I'll see if I can speed that up. Max speed. Yeah. That's real funny. So it's like you've got the rods out of the reactor, and then you just open a door and spin them out the side and then pull it back. So I should be able to take this track system and hide it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I have the length to hide it. So it can just be in that kind of space. And then the issue is that this thing looks like it's floating. Like, is that an issue? I think that is kind of an issue. This is all you would see is like this floating thing. But it lets it move into the tank. So let's imagine like this is the wall. This is the end of my chamber. It's going to run along the track, but what if the track, like what if you don't need to know about that track? If I had a piston, because that'll let it wiggle a little bit, and then I'll have to probably move that up one so that I can get another pivot. So now I've got all these dead pivots and piston. So when it goes in, it's like, looks like it's all, that's so bad. Oh, and then the thing on the bottom stops it anyway. Yeah, that's not a good idea. It's just this long piece on the control rod. Makes it really difficult to work around. But anyway, that's the idea, right? The placement of the ladder is kind of important. And if I want to put any decorative pieces down the side, then it needs to be like the back wall for where this is, where the rods start at. Oh, that's actually maybe already in the right place. All this needs to be hidden. All of this needs to be hidden. And then this is all I've got for trying to load the rods in. That's pretty tight, eh? Because I need to come out at least 2. So yeah, maybe that's not even going to work. The other thing I could do is spin this whole reactor around so it goes like that. And that way the door is very much on the exterior of the whole carrier cat. So loading it, you'd have to come up right to the top because it needs to run through this gap. And then this would let you just push it probably only even to here, right? Because then outside is just outside. Because I wanted to get rid of the space, but I kind of feel like I might need it. I might need a loading area for more rods, which then means all the other links, so where these stairs come to, are basically where they need to be. So now the whole thing is longer than what I had anticipated for this part of it. I've just brought the wall out, and this will be sort of where the new front of the middle half is. So it still fits within this workbench. Now I need my own tutorial. So I'm looking for I'll probably do the far track at $30 train yard, which is space hanger edit. It's this one here. So grid size 0, and I don't need to transform it too much, but the X is, I think X is what I want, isn't it? No, it'd be Z, right? Because Z is the longest one. So I need to just multiply this by 2. So if I just say 120, because that's easy, then to make the change appear, we need to reload. I'm going to have to make the reactor not reloadable right now because it's so complicated getting all the movement to work properly without colliding with anything. But now I've got this very long workbench. So we'll take rear piston. Here's the front. Like the front could go back quite a lot really, because it doesn't need that much space around the, oh, does it? Doot, 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 doot. That should be okay. Oh no. I lost the red grid. I don't know what's the main grid now. It's probably like one of the ramps or the crane. Is that it? Green to red? That must be the main. That's weird. So I need to get rid of that. Merge that to that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've crashed, I think. Oh no, the floor is a different height. What is going on? I think this height here was defined to meet up with this. Yeah, that's okay then. There you go, that's what we're dealing with basically. Full-sized carrier cat. It's not too bad, eh? This is the engines here, like just... Let me get a different color. Just in there is the engines. So that's kind of a good proportion of the interior used for engines. It's so long. So long. Alright, so and I read some comments as well. Some people really wanted to see if I could get the drive-through. There's a lot of space in the front, eh? And it's really only to accommodate the roof thing. Like it could be shorter. But let's look at pulling this driving area through, because I don't know if I really liked what I did with this equipment room. I don't like having rooms full of equipment. I feel like at best you need like a hatch. Oh no, I'm deleting both sides. It's a bit short, eh? So that would need to come probably all the way up. And we'll cut back to here. What I'm hoping is that it curves over into the middle so that the staircase down to the other side of the engine bay can have its own little, or it'll be like a slightly different stairway down to this. Or I could even put it in here, maybe, so it goes straight down. But then that cuts into like where the reactor is. Maybe. Yeah, probably. It'd be like coming down inside the reactor. But then if the reactor was actually in here, and all the rods got moved in sideways, then that might work. Because yeah, otherwise we're driving through here. It just like turns so much of the interior. Like what is the point of even having anything? What is the point of having anything below here? Because we have all this. We have this higher piece here. What is this? There's a wall? So this could be rooms. I think this goes outside. And then definitely another floor the whole way through. Wow, okay. Is that what we're doing? Just like not even having any of this stuff in here. It's just a huge garage, floating garage. I wonder if that makes it better for performance because less stuff going on. You'd be able to get so much stuff in here. I mean, the ships that I've been looking at for inspiration for this, they are just logistics ships. They don't have their own weapons, I don't think. It's just this staircase down for the engine room. Although, it could go long ways instead of sideways if we're doing this. Dude, this is nuts. And then here I need to put another custom door in because a ramp basically can't exist in here. How big does a ramp need to be? Let's say I give myself 4 on each side. Okay, and so the door needs to be somewhere in here. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, and then I do a wall like that. Oh dear. How is a ramp gonna fit in here? That should be watertight though. I'll just have a quick look around. I think this staircase would be the only possible way for water to get in right now. I'm gonna modify another workbench on a FJ Warner. Ooh. Oh, is it sinking? It's sinking. I wonder if that's the custom door. I've got no idea how it's flooding. It's probably... It's most likely this XML. What tends to happen is like the other sides of an XML wedge or a block lose their ability to seal as well, so it might be above this wedge that covers the XML pyramids. But if I did the ramp the right way, which I did not. Look at that. Eh? I don't know how far down it goes. I guess it's not really strong enough that it could lift the rest of the thing anyway. It's a very steep ramp. I think it might not be as steep as the rear one. Oh no. Might have to reverse then. That's probably not going to be any better. It's a really narrow ramp, eh? Like, I kind of thought because the thing is so big, because the carrier cat's so big that if it had a front ramp, it'd be like the whole way across, but maybe I need to not have any space on the sides. Okay, this is a bad idea. Let me put on the parking brake. I think it's falling off. And then bring the ramp back up. Now we're in. So much space. So yeah, if you wanted to, I mean, this would work, right? I don't know how getting out is gonna work. Oh, heaps easier. I mean, that's kind of silly. It'd be good if the ramp were just longer. So what I could do is this top middle piece could like fold up, and then this could have an extending thing on it. So that way it would maybe look a bit different, because right now, being that it's wedges, it fits perfectly. If it were a flat block with a track on it, it'd look different, but it would let you have like a twice as long ramp. So it would be more like this angle. And then you'd still have a clearance issue up here. You wouldn't have any clearance issues along here, I don't think. Helipad's still a good size. All of the above cargo area is like enough space for me to put in equipment and rooms. And then where this room is, the condenser, you need to copy some stairs. I've got that staircase there, and then if I put one, maybe not above it, but beside it, and then that one just merges up into here, and I just extend my railing across, and then, yeah, this is what I was worried about, where this rail needs to meet up with that rail. So actually it needs to go further along, otherwise it'll be cutting in. So it's this one here. So we end up with something like that. So up here, it'll just kind of, this side still needs to be here so that it can be a mirror of the stairs down to the engines. And then I think what I'd do is probably have painted some kind of walking area between these two. Something like that, and then put little gates so you can't just walk out into the middle of whatever's driving through here. And then, oh, that's perfect, because now it comes up directly. Yeah. Okay, so I know it won't float. Something to do with a hole somewhere. I will have to go hunting for that some other time. I think the ladder there makes a lot of sense, but I would like some kind of gate that will prevent you from running off the edge. Let me know if you've got any ideas for how to do that. Otherwise, we can go for a pretty good tour, I reckon. So we've got the 2 doors on the back, and then I don't know haven't fixed that yet. Staircase up onto the walkway, which doesn't really serve any purpose right now, but maybe I could put like some kind of office or something floating up here. Access to the outside stairs, which go up to the helipad. Then I did want a door on this side. I might still put one here, but the main sort of stairway is through this door. And so I haven't copied it over yet, but this staircase goes down and takes you to all the engineering stuff. Engine room. Then there is the reactor and the boiler will be in this room. And then I need a staircase down from here to go to the motor room and the generator rooms, which will be below the reactor. Back up in the massive cargo hold. Come back up onto the walkway, and then you can go up again, which brings you up into the first floor for people. So this is probably where we'll put a galley and some crew quarters. And then through this door, this is back to where the helipad is. There's another door that goes forwards in the crew quarters, but then a staircase that goes up onto the bridge, which is going to be in here. And then these 2 doors exit out onto the sides. So you can come around onto this back. I don't know what's going in here. Maybe some kind of weaponry, but we're going to have like anti-missiles or something. Those little chain gun things, they'd probably go on the roof. But then a door on the other side, where it's blue, this will all be windows. And yeah, I think up here will just be like operations. So maybe I'll put a big display in the floor and do a map. So there's not actually going to be too much in the way of like people accommodation, which hopefully will reduce the amount of lag, because most of this is just an empty box. And then I'll wall this off, so we'll get some rooms in the sides here, which I can probably connect back up. So crew quarters could actually be in these sections, unless I have weapons, and then ammo could be stored in there. And then the front ramp I think is quite a good idea actually. The way it was working right now is like not a good implementation. I think I'll have to cut off all the flat edge, maybe so it's just 1 block width on each side where it flattens off, because that'll make the ramp wider. Then I will pull the custom door back and turn it into a big flat thing that can extend. So all of under here you lose the buoyancy from this section, but you'll be able to either drive up through the front, drive off through the back. I don't know why my doors stopped working, but yeah, like it just makes it a big tunnel. I think I still need a medical situation, like a medical room, mid bay. It might be that I reserve some of the front space, so maybe in these 2 sections could be like medical, and then I could do little doors in the side that pop out, like Clifford had that side door that opened. That was really helpful. And then that could actually connect into the walkways. Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. And so the reactors will need a hole punched out in the side here eventually at some point, so that they can be reloaded. And then I've still got to figure out how to get tracks. I think I'm going to have to do tracks the whole way along, or at least some very long segments, maybe in 3 segments. But it's not actually lagging too badly right now, and I'm not getting the large vehicle file size warning yet. So this is like twice as long as Clifford, I think. I wonder if I can load Clifford in next to this. I might still chop this up to build it, but this is like the first time putting it all together, so it'll be this one vehicle. So width wise, they're pretty similar because Clifford essentially filled up the whole width of the build zone. But lengthwise, heaps bigger than Clifford. Well, not that big. Not that much bigger, but it is hollow the whole way through. So in terms of like how much cargo it could transport, way, it's so much more. And then I do think because the walkway doesn't start anywhere on this side at the end, on the right hand side, it only needs to exist in the middle section so that it's got sort of coverage and access to the top and the engine room. So I could turn this whole side into a door that folds down and gives you access to like a temporary deck type situation. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with this. It is very cubey though, isn't it? Hopefully that's good for performance. Oh well, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.